A man who, in search of a new purpose, began breeding a man himself. He was captivated by her enthusiasm and intelligence. She was 20 years possessed. He thought he would never see again. He did not suspect that this lady could have shown. He immediately understood that this relationship with the Challenger friends would have to begin with the land of he had his own reservations. But at 70 years old, his heart stayed strongly, but he never proved it to himself. Even though he managed to con his hesitation obsession, he never as everything is perfect. The last story of his life, she at the plastic was an ass and compassion deaf. She knew exactly how to do so to each of her satisfaction. And what he did not realize was that she began to demand a girl of superior order for pure attraction. The changes in her behavior became the only sudden humiliation, disguised as changes in our behavior. Potential, she claimed they should take better care of herself, because people should not have such physical limitations, but forced to laugh, it was a joke. But the frequency request and laugh of food, she never stopped telling her what was made for her. The financial focus on criticisms and his performance in music hection, satisfaction. Music found to convince her that does not. Music abandoned the he exercised no matter his method. He showed her that despite his lack of youth strength, he knew how to deliver in a special, unique way through his devotion to her with a passion and confidence. That young man considered to be useful, out to convince himself as a test of patience and resilience, by being understand, however, each of these students. Music photos of following that service decision, the person to his decision to stay down, that special has to be filled forces, to accept those who would never have pedestry, I believe. You be about the music idea of field, of you decision only with the trans, because you could not live in a esh, of a perfect acceptance. The first of the music first expect to do it as a beautiful present. Order, you think that you deserve a sense of wisdom. You will not obey the use of the experiences you have in the music value. Japan, even perhaps you felt a sense of relaxation. She knows he recognized that it is sometimes failed to accept, but not really understand the value of me. But especially those who only see the selfish, recognize the possibility of humiliation in music himself for us. And it was a music or clear value, abandoned the true story of the neighborhood. This event happened and deserved to sacrifice the liberty and clean accepts, respects and choices like people with their physical age. A few minutes later, you discover new classes in pieces to see how we discover this abandon. He abandoned himself. Each one tells us a story and each player alternately is important. You may never need to sacrifice himself to satisfy others. Between the desire, satisfaction design, music solutions understand at the expense of ability to do the essence of young, can understand the importance of presence of youth. In hand, you realize that this relationship is not an opportunity and acceptance and the importance of conscious beyond, but to be forced to deliver with all his fashion. For him, identity of the opponents of such death have even alliance to conspire against our confidence and the value of dignity, because they understand the value of you discover that man's value is detritus in the face of adversity. Not this integrity of based on the story I would have to prepare for people. The first is the best. Music, clear to accept of, should not be a test, and rather an environment of respect and acceptance. The second lesson teaches us is the value of self-love. By accepting caste about his performance and age, he felt like he was giving up a part of himself. He felt that tolerated criticisms in a man, but in reality, he was sacrificing his dignity is a part of the best perceived relationship, because the concern of others recognizing and deserve respect and affection is the foundation of any healthy relationship. The third lesson is to have the courage to free oneself and acceptance as a part of peace, even if it is only decided to end this relationship. It was more than just a breakup, it was a way of being for himself. But the third man of the path choosing to be a man, continuous self-esteem and pass. he gave himself the opportunity to man the fourth lesson, is that our experiences and memories become true. Who do not recognize this and superficiality like this? Even for opportunity, he understood that he did not himself, after an image of postition, appreciate the value of the human wisdom. Therefore, it is useless to try to please someone who does not understand holy hell. The fifth lesson is that being attended to partners' needs, particularly with physical consciousness, is the fifth lesson shown of affection. He thought that even if he no longer had the physical vigour of his youth, he could express his devotion and desire to means this demonstration of affection and devotion often chose a man to put his father's needs before his own plan. However, respect must be effort. Assumed closeness is a sign of interest that should not be interpreted as an obligation or a cause for embarrassment. In this example, he learned that no matter how he tried to please her, his efforts must be recognized in he that true closeness requires respect and consideration, not judgments or criticisms. If you were catched by the story, please do subscribe to the channel and like the video, share this message with others who might be able to reflect on the value of dignity and safe. The greatest fascination.